Hi guys, and welcome to another colour along. This is my final colour along from my January colour club, and this is my first ever colour along from the Mr Fogherty book, and I've chosen to do the Infernal Combustion engine mostly because I want to colour in a motorbike. But before we get to that, let's talk about the February colour club. I'm going to go a sneak preview of what I'm thinking of colouring for the February colour club. I'm thinking of colouring in this pirate from asleep. I'm thinking of colouring in from awake. Look mum, no hands. Oh, 2 motorbikes. Is that allowed? Am I allowed to colour 2 motorbikes here? I don't know. I'm going for another Mr Fogherty one for my colour club. I'm going to colour in Venice because I need to do that. I'm also going to pull one from Forest Song, and I'm going to colour in this book belongs to page from Forest Song. Some of my book belongs to pages are something that I really want to colour. I'm going to try and colour in Wrong Turn from Lost and Found, and I'm going to take on Fantasy Tiny Homes, and I'm going to do the Observatory because that's another one I'm really looking forward to colouring. So that's a sneak peek of what's coming in February. So let's finish off January first. I'm pretty excited about getting all of my yellows in the January colour club done. Wasn't sure how I'd go, but it's been great fun. Alright, I am going to go to my trusted Ohuhus, and I'm going to do like a nice racing green motorbike. So I'm going to do a lighter colour, which is the, what is this? Mint green light, and I'm going to go to a darker forest green for the edges. Right. Now I do have a sheet of acetate and a little sheet of paper behind this page so that I don't ruin the page below it when my colour markers bleed through. Ooh, lovely racing green. Right, now I've got to work out what on this bike is going to be this green. I'm thinking this lamp needs to be, or part of it needs to be that green. And certainly the hubcap. And I was thinking even some of these little struts should be that green. Some of these nuts and some of these struts. And some of these little bits, but not all of them. This is part of the frame, so I'm thinking that is certainly going to be green. But not the exhaust pipe. All right, that looks like the hubcap, so let's do that. I think this is part of the frame shown back here. Maybe even these little hubcap holder things. I think that might be the end of it. I think these might be the little hubcaps of the wheels. Well, they are now. And while I've got these two colours out, I'm going to make the lenses of his little funky little goggles that same green. And here's what looks like a petrol tank sitting in amongst this fantastic border. I'm just going to add some of that colour into that border as well. And just to balance it, that looks like it should be painted green as well, doesn't it? I'm going to keep those colours handy because you never know when you're going to need them again. Alright, I'm going for my tyres next, and I'm going to use this cool grey 082, which is a darker cool grey, but I certainly don't want to use black. Let's just test it out under here, see how dark it actually is. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. So when I was younger, I used to ride motorbikes. I owned a couple. And I used to take them for long rides up into the mountains and things. I managed to avoid any horrific crashes, so that's good. These days I look at motorbikes and I think, yeah, I'm not sure I'm keen, I'm not sure I'm up for that. So I don't know what that's about. Though occasionally I do see a lovely bike ride past and just think, oh, that would be fun. I think people have become less aware on the roads as mobile phones have hit. You just don't want to be out there with people on their phones and distracted on texts. And it takes a split second on a motorbike and things can go horribly wrong. All right, I think I'm happy with that. It is a great feeling getting out there. Wind in your hair. I'm going to look for a pastel peach. I'm going to do this with a pastel peach. All right, now I'm going to bring in some cool greys just for all my little metal bits on this bike. I'm starting out with my lightest cool grey, which is a 038. While I'm doing this, I'm going to bring in the next level 042 cool grey just to put those shadows in sort of immediately. I think I found a little bit of that bike screen. Well, I really loved, if I finish now I'd be happy because I've coloured in my motorbike. And those goggles, the lenses look really good, don't they? Looks like he's got some really beautiful Ray-Ban glass in there or something. Alright, now the question that's on all of our lips is, what colour do we colour Mr Fogherty in? And I'm going to try and match what I've done there, which is a pale green and maybe a darker green, like a vivid green to the shadowy bits. I'm going to start on his feet because starting on his face, it's a very big commitment. Yeah, I think that's... Now I'm just thinking his throat probably needs to be a little bit even lighter than that. So what I'm thinking is a yellow-green. Just to sort of bring his soft underbelly into play, you know. Maybe the top of his lip a little bit. And then we'll pull in our pale green. I'm glad I did that pale green. I'm going to do those dots on his back, these little spots. Beauty spots, that's what they are. Alright, now I'm bringing the darker one in, this vivid green, just to sort of bring shadows in to define features and things. What do you think? Just a touch around there. I'm going to bring that pale green back just to blend that a bit. So I don't want that to be too savage a lion. Ooh, I've coloured Mr Fogherty. Now I know that a lot of people colour in his eyes yellow because I think in the US there are green frogs with yellow eyes, but in Australia our green frogs have white eyes, beautiful white eyes. I think they're much sweeter. So I'm going to stick with my light eyes. I'm going to bring in my cool grey, my lightest cool grey, and just give a shadow line under there. Just to soften those eyes a little bit. Well, what do you think? I think I'm pretty happy with that. Let us bring in some leather. Let's do some leather work. I've got one brown grey and walnuts. Brown grey walnut. I'm also going to grab, say, burnt sienna. Brick brown, burnt sienna. If I could find them, that would be good. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them, but I've got them ready. Okay, starting with my lightest one. I'm just going to pick out parts of this little goggle setup. So I think it's got a leather surround. And while that's still wet, I'm just going to bring in some of that walnut to I'm going to take back my light cool greys because I just realised that this is probably more of a steel frame around here. Steel frame with some shadows maybe. And now we do also have this wonderful leather jacket. So I'm going to employ those same leathery colours. seem to have a full pocket here, doesn't he? I'm quite fond of Mr Foggy. He's developed from an illustration that I did in Night Garden and to this into a little personality. And it's been really fun to journey with him as he discovers who he is. Well, I think he knows who he is. He certainly knows what his fashion sense is, doesn't he? Late Victorian, maybe? Although he does look, he does go into other eras of clothing at times. He can't be contained. You never want to put him in a box, do you? Now, Mr Fogherty. Foray out, that's the word I was looking for. I kept going to forage. He's not going to forage for clothes, goodness me. Oh, I think those gloves, maybe we go darker on those gloves. Or do we do a colour? It's tempting to go with a colour, isn't it? Maybe I bring my terracotta in. This could be a... sort of giving us that oxblood vibe, isn't it? I might just bring my burnt sienna in to bring shadows in there, as I did with my jacket. I'm not being too precise here, I'm just trying to almost use it as a paint in a way, these markers. Alright, what I'm thinking, bringing in some reds. Because all those greens, they're crying out for some red, aren't they? Wine red, maybe? Well, let's go with the geranium and the coral haze. And we'll go coral haze underneath. Looking at this hat, it needs to be this wonderful red coloured hat. It's a big commitment though, guys. Whew. And now my geranium, I'm hoping will bring that red back. So that bright colour, which was scaring us all, is just going to be the highlights. Just leaving little highlights. And we're pulling it back. Actually, I could go a little bit darker still with that wine red that I was looking at before. So there's a 3-colour blend going on here. So it's just a rich red. I'm really happy with that. I'm tempted to give him a red waistcoat as well. In fact, I'm going to. I can't be stopped. I'm just going to do the same 3-colour mix. So that was my Coral Haze, which I'm leaving as highlights, and then my geraniums are going to come in and pull that back a bit, but leave little highlights. And then right along the edges where I want my shadows to be deeper, I'm bringing the darker wine red. Very smart. Now I've just noticed that I've left the inside of his jacket uncoloured. So I'm bringing in my walnut, and I'm going to bring some of that burnt sienna in, because it's sort of deep in shadow in there, isn't it? And it's got this satchel, and I'm thinking the satchel should be like the gloves, but I'm going to try underpinning it with this brown grey, which is the same colour as his jacket, in the hope that I can go lightly on my terracotta. So it's brick brown that I used, wasn't it? Yeah, not terracotta. Leading you all astray. I should have gone with terracotta. Maybe I should go with terracotta. Maybe that's where I went wrong before. And then my brick brown. Yeah, that's fun. Just bringing some life to that bag and differentiating it from the jacket. All right, now we've got some pants. I was thinking of blue pants, but I'm sort of wanting to get in violet pants. What do you reckon? Maybe we go sky blue and pale violet. Sky blue and pale blue violet. I'm not convinced, guys, so I'm going to check it out. I've got a scrap bit of paper here. You can see where I've played with colours before. That's the pale blue violet. This is the sky blue. Yeah, I think that could work. We'll find out soon enough, won't we? Once again, the pale blue violet was quite a bold colour, but we're just using that as a base. And when we bring our sky blue on top, the pale blue violet just sort of leaves behind little highlights, which are wonderful. And we pull that colour back from the brink of being a catastrophe. And I'm doing this while they're all wet, because the colour would be different if I did it when the pale blue violet dried. Very sensible. Now on his ensemble, all I've got left is this little scarf. I don't think I want to bring that blue violet up into there too. It could be too much. Thinking if he's going motorcycle riding, he might be wearing a sensible scarf. So he may be wearing a grey knitted scarf. So I'm going to bring my cool greys out that I used earlier on the motorcycle parts. This will also help tie in the parts of the illustration. Well, it will in my mind. In my mind, it's being tied in right now. Yeah, so it's along the lines of it, like this bluey violety is being pulling that colour out of that grey, but that grey is also toning in here. I think if we did that up here, it would have been a bit too much. Having said that, I'm looking at the sky. Talking about too much. Okay, I'm bringing these three colours, the three colours I used on Mr Fogherty's skin, I'm going to use on just a little bits of grass here. So this flower stem, this leaf. But I don't want to do the whole bottom that green. I think that might be too much at the moment until we see what our sky is going to do. And this is our pale green. We'll just build up the colours. I think that might be enough. And while I've got these out, I'm going to go green. I'm going to go green on one of these dials. And then a melon yellow for that third one, and then I need my coral haze again, I think, for excellent. Let's talk about the flower. I've got my melon yellow. No, this is my melon yellow. And maybe that brick brown for the centre. Okay, people, let's talk tortoise shell. I got brown grey. And I'm going to work my way up to walnut, leaving the brown grey highlights. I'm just wondering what will happen. I'm trying to get this, so if I use my brown grey and then mix it with this pale green, will we get a snail colour? I don't want it to be Mr Fogherty green. I think that gives us a nice little snail green, doesn't it? Let's try it out. I'm going to leave his eyes a bit white. I might add eyeballs in there later. Yeah, so that brown grey is just pulled back that pale green a bit. And I think what I need is that yellow, a yellow green for the Alright. I've just got my black marker. I'm going to draw little eyeballs on this guy. He's looking down in amongst it. Now, because it's so much fun, I'm bringing out my white Posca. Just going to fix that eye where my marker bled through. So, thinking this bike's going to look great with some highlights. And I'm starting here and working my way here so that I don't smudge everything. Having said that, what's going on up here? No, I haven't finished, but I just really wanted to make this pop a bit. Alright, now this border I'm thinking I'm doing a mix of this sort of metal, but also this sort of rusty coloured metal. So we're going to play with the colours we've already established and bring them in different places. This is my green grey, which is just a bit darker and a little bit greener. I'm going to play with the shadows. Maybe some green grey chords. chain should be a lovely green-grey. And this looks like it could be a big rubber pipe, doesn't it? Or a lead pipe or something. Green-grey, I'm going green-grey. I think this is a similar sort of thing, so maybe that'll balance if I do that. Brown grey, walnut. See if we can create some rusty bits. Sort of looks rusty, doesn't it? Alright, I'll go warm grey 150. We'll see what that does for us. sort of tempted to make these little pipes a little bit more colourful. Maybe not these. How colourful, you ask? Coral haze colourful. I think that might have been a pipe, but I made it the edge of the snail. Oh well, it's all good. I think this string needs to be bright. Now I need to find my geranium and just darken that down a bit in the shadows. Yeah, then I think we bring our yellow green, green yellow, no yellow green, and we do this one different but still bright. I'll bring a vivid green in, oh no, pale green. Pale green. And that's our dark cool grey. Just want to bring a little bit more shadowing on, a bit more dimension on these pipes. Alright, I could spend hours just focusing on those details, but I'm going to move on. Let's talk sky. If you are feeling a little less boisterous, you could probably do like a turquoise blue sky, and that would work wonderfully. But my turquoise blue is collapsed, so I'm going to go for something a bit bolder. I'm thinking cerulean blue and sapphire. But before I do that, I'm not convinced. So I'm going to test out what those colours do. That could be good. I don't think it's going to destroy anything. It could be a fun thing to colour though. Let's go cerulean blue. I'll do cerulean blue and then I might come back down with some sapphire. It's lighter at the horizon sort of thing. And I'm just going to colour in sections. Do that last big space last. Maybe this is a section, like to there. This is a section. This is the huge section, and then all the little bits here. So let's start with all the little bits. See what we can, see what happens. Yeah, I think like it's a sky, isn't it? You gotta be really careful around here because I want to leave a nice rim, nice metal rim around on my tyre. Because I'm using this dark blue, it's going to want to soak in. So I'm leaving a little gap. So when it soaks, it'll still leave that white rim around so that there's a I'm very happy with his lavender blue pants. Just quietly. think I'm going to colour this side of the pipe, leave the other side free, so it sort of looks like a completes the oval without a gap in it. If I went out further, it would sort of have a lump in it. If you get what I'm trying to say there. Oh, and there's all this little detail down here I left behind. do you think? Do you think it needs a little bit of darker sky? With more sapphire? Maybe that's enough. I was quite happy with the cerulean. Hopefully I can blend it. This is my warm grey 150. I just think I'm going to add a little bit of something here. I don't really want to introduce any more colours, and I don't want to use more of this brown grey. So we use some of this warm grey. Just keep going. Nope. Just going to add some warm grey into here because it's sort of got a more of that rusty vibe to it. That engine just was looking a little bit monochromatic, wasn't it? There you go, just a touch. And I just need to add my sapphire in because this is looking a little bit weird up here. All right, let's bring some pencils in. Well, that's not ideal. I'm bringing my if your pencil sharpener kills your pencil, use the grinder. And I'm just going to try and bring some life in to this jacket. Maybe even into this little guy up here. I have my purple here, Prismacolor. I'm always fond of what purple does in shadows. Maybe even on his pants. Give him some purple. You know what, I'm going to try and sharpen it. Wish me luck. Oh, wrecked my sharpener. Let's just leave it blunt. I'll have to clean out that broken nib from my sharpener later on. Really, this is just fine tuning. You could call it done. But you know, you could also spend another hour just fine highlighting these details, couldn't you? And really making it sing. I've got some true blue. Let's play with some true blue. Help with our blends a bit. It's just a cool grey 042. Just going to add some shadows in here. Let's call that finished. The Infernal Combustion engine from A Frog's Tale, Mr Fogherty's colouring book. Well, that was good fun. I loved colouring in that motorbike and all this gearing stuff. Now I'm going to call it finished, but you know, I think I could come back and spend another hour just putting details all through here. But I shall do that on my own time. Really appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget, this is the January colouring club. I'm just about to launch the February colouring club, so keep an eye out for that. And let me just put in some glass in those goggles. Right, I'm going to say thanks so much for watching, guys. I shall see you soon. All the best.